Do you want to know how to calm digital chaos and raise tech-responsible kids at the same time? It is possible. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, child development, how to build strong family bonds, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about getting rid of that tech chaos that takes over the family, the relationships, and that we know is not healthy for us. In this video, we're going to talk about what is happening with technology and the chaos that's going on in people's homes. And then we're going to go into what you can do to raise tech-responsible kids so that your children don't fall into the same traps as everyone else. We have a lot of problems with technology. As much as technology is a blessing, it helps us be definitely more efficient in our work, and maybe we could even say efficient in some of our social communications with people because of texting and all the different ways that we can communicate with our devices is definitely not effective when we're talking about our relationships or our daily routines or our emotional health and even our physical health. Definitely technology is getting in the way, and it's creating an element of chaos in our cultures where people are on the reactive side of this conversation. And they're wondering, how did we get here? How do we solve the problem? But the thing is, the habits, the norms have already been established in our society. And once those norms are established, even with children, it's hard to break away from the norm. It's hard to create a new culture. The place that culture is founded and established the very most is within the family unit. So if you want to change culture in the classroom and in society, you've got to change it in the family first. And one of the best ways to change culture when it comes to technology is to decide to put the people culture in the family first, which means that we don't hang a TV in every room. We don't spend our time communicating with all of our family members on technology all the time. Instead, we go back to the old-fashioned, the tried and true, person-to-person, eye-to-eye contact most of the time when we can ever do it that way. Now, I know sometimes you got to text people. Sometimes an email really is the best way to send a message. Sometimes it's so fun to video chat. And that's as close sometimes as some people can get to their families and have that personal eye-to-eye contact because they don't live super close to some of the family members. But when we're all in the same house, when we sleep there at night, there is no reason that we should be spending those evening hours in our home on our devices with other people when we could be talking with each other. And if we do something that is a digital activity, then at the very least, we should be joining together to do it. Now, I say that with a little bit of reservation. Okay, because some people think, perfect, we're going to just game together. We'll all get our own gaming console and we'll sit in our own little spaces and we'll game together all night. It's not the same. It's not the same as when we talk to each other at the dinner table, when we work on a project together, when we go and do service out in our communities together, when we go to our churches and to participate at the sports centers together. It's just not the same. So make sure that you are scheduling your family's life to be a real family life and not just a tech family life. So how are we going to do this? How do we raise tech-responsible children when we're trying to kind of turn it off at home? And is that even possible? The answer is yes. In fact, when you turn off the tech a little bit more at home during those evening home hours as a family, it actually will expose your children to life without tech. And this will prepare them to want to have personal communication and interaction with other people outside of technology. This will actually create a better, more mature conversationalist as a child or as a future adult. When we are looking at technology, we're looking at things in the minute, right now, and it's changing all the time. But when we're looking at child development, we should be looking at a longer picture view. We're not creating children, we're creating adults. That's the outcome of our home. And what does an adult need to have to be happy, secure, have good mental health, emotional health, and good relationships? They need to know how to talk to to people, how to solve their problems, how to open up to other people's. They need to know that they don't get to perfectly script every single word before it comes out to another person. They need to be real. I don't know if you've noticed that, but a lot of young adults in their early 30s, into their 20s, they feel like they don't want to say something unless they know it's perfect first. And they're going to script it out. And they'll sit and ponder on typing a text for like 3 days. And then they don't even care about the punctuation. I don't get that. Anyway, but you know what I'm talking about is that they're like, no, I got to say it just so. Instead of just being a person and going to somebody else, a friend or a family member, a parent, and saying, you know what? I think we're not getting along right now. We got to work this out. Like, let's sit down and have a talk about it. And let's be real. I'm not going to be perfect as we communicate. Whoever created the impression that someone needed to be perfect? Well, it's technology. And now with AI, we can even do it more. We can type in some idea of what we want to say and have AI produce it for us. That's scary. Because that's all the more reason that people aren't going to want to talk to each other and solve their problems like real people do. So what do you do to prepare your children? You solve problems at home using skills. Now this channel, if you've subscribed to this channel, you know that it is full of communication skills. That's everything I teach here. So teach them how to, disagree appropriately with each other, and how to accept no answers from each other and give no answers to each other, how to be calm when they feel like they're not being calm, how to self-regulate themselves. Then they won't have to worry about being perfect and doing everything on tech all the time. But what do you do when the person does need to engage in technology? How do you help them be responsible? Well, at the very beginning, what you want to make sure you do is you make sure that tech use is not a private thing. Tech use should be something that happens in front of other people. It should be something that could be very public. We don't want to have sexual addictions and technology addictions and people waking up in the middle of the night to get on their screen because they've trained themselves to need that addiction even when they sleep. I kid you not, there are 4-year-old children that will wake up in the middle of the night to get their iPad to play Minecraft. They train themselves to not go too long without it. That's scary to me. So train them to be without it. That's good. Train them to know when their body has changed a little bit. Can they start feeling a craving? Have you taught your children how to feel a craving? Like, well, what's going on right now? So you think you want more sugar even though we just had 2 cookies? That could be called a craving. We can crave all kinds of things. Wait, we just watched a video and now you want to play on the iPad? Could it be that you're craving more visual stimulation? Let's talk about what visual stimulation is and what a craving is. And now let's talk about that skill of self-government that we know about, accepting no answers. And let's talk about how to give ourselves a no answer and how to drop the subject. The steps to accepting a no answer are to look at the person or the situation, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or disagree appropriately, and then drop the subject. What if you can give yourself a no answer? You can say, nope, no more technology for me today, and then I'm going to drop the subject. If I think about technology again, I'm going to say, nope, drop the subject. I am not thinking about that. It's not going to be something that I put in my head. I hope you noticed with the things that I'm talking about that this isn't stuff that just children need to know. Yeah, your children can benefit from knowing how to govern themselves with technology and how to not go and hide away doing it, and how to give themselves no answers and instructions related to it. Like, I'm going to only be on it for this much time and then I'm going to get off. But what about the adults in their world? What if the adults around them aren't setting the right example? Then are they really going to grow up to be people who know that they should be in charge of technology instead of having the technology in control of them? What's going to happen with AI as we bring that into more and more things? I was talking with a friend of mine the other day, and she said that her sister, who's in her early 30s, is so fascinated by AI that she says that AI is her best friend. She's named AI. She talks to AI every night. She tells AI all of her problems and gets solutions from AI for how to solve her problems. Maybe that sounds convenient, but to me that sounds scary. Scary that she is going through life with her only companion as AI. What type of attachment do you feel, really? Because she feels very attached to AI. I would say she's probably almost in a romantic relationship with AI, which I know can also happen to people. If we do not set the boundary for our children, that they don't get to be on those devices all the time, and that those devices are tools, not toys, and that they need to tell themselves when they got to think for real too, we could be creating a problem. a problem where they're not even sure what abilities they actually have themselves, because technology can take it over. It's not my intention to freak anybody out or to be anti-technology. I'm certainly not. Hello, I'm a YouTuber. I'm actually very pro-technology. I do all kinds of things on technology, and I'm grateful for it. But I also know that it takes over real quick. Help your children understand what it means to live a self-governed life. There is a video that I highly recommend for you if you've enjoyed some of this and you want to learn more about some of those nuts and bolts of self-government. The video is called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. It goes into some of these skills and principles of self-government and how to set up your self-governed home, like I've been talking about in some of these videos about technology. I think that could be the best first step for you as you're moving forward with your self-government and technological family journey. Click on the link to that video next. I'll see you there.